Okay, hi everybody. Hopefully you're having a wonderful afternoon, enjoying the sunshine. Yes, so my name is Kasia. I'm from the Niagara-on-the-Lake Public Library, and what we're going to be doing today is painting this cute, sleepy little sloth in only 3 colors on this week's NOTLLibrary Live Create with Kasia. So I'm just going to push this in a bit because I see the camera's jiggling. Hopefully that's better. Yes, hopefully everyone had a wonderful weekend and is enjoying the sunshine today and hopefully got out for a walk or a bike ride. But we haven't gone out yet. We're going to go out later today. Someone's putting a new fence in our backyard, so we have to make sure that the dogs don't get out and that kind of stuff. So we are just hanging around the house. But that's awesome because it means that I can be here like every Monday to create with you and show you a different way of making something new. So we'll just jump right in. So again, my name is Kasia Dupuis. I'm from the Niagara-on-the-Lake Public Library, and this is this week's NOTLLibrary Live Create with Kasia. So if you have any questions or need to reach me or have any feedback, I would love to hear from you. My email is right there, kdupuis@notlpl.org. Okay, so anytime during the live stream, you can send us a question in chat or you can email me after. I'd love to hear from you. One thing I was kind of thinking about this week is that I'm still adjusting to this virtual teaching thing. So if anyone has any comments, to let me know, because I'm very used to reading the room and seeing how people are handling steps and seeing your reactions on your faces and your body language. And with the camera, I can't see that. So it's kind of tricky for me to just press finish and hopefully it all goes well. So I'd love to hear from you. One way or the other, I'd love to hear how your paintings turned out, what you think of the projects. If you have any suggestions or requests, I would love, love, love to hear from you. Okay, so it is 4:02. I'll do a quick run through of the materials you're going to need to create the sloth today, and then we'll get started. So to paint with me today, we'll start from the bottom up. Make sure you're wearing paint clothes, so things that you don't mind getting paint on. This is a shirt that I've had for a very long time. I do not mind if I turn it pink today. It's okay with me. Make sure you have a safe space to paint on. So I'm painting on my drafting table, and even though I cleaned it today, I actually decided to put a giant piece of paper down so it would catch any extra little paint marks I might get on there. You want to make sure you have a surface to paint on. So guess what? I'm using cardboard today. Remember, in all my other videos, I've said if you have paper or canvas or cardboard, anything you can find, well, I'm doing it. I'm painting on cardboard today. I found some cardboard in our basement, so I'm going to do that. And actually, it looks really cool, right? Kind of stands out differently. It's something different. It's interesting. You're also going to need water to wash your brush. You're going to need a paper towel to wipe your brushes on. And you're going to need brushes. So I'm going to be using a flat square brush today, and it's kind of a medium. It's kind of between medium and small. And then I found another round fine point brush that I'm going to be using for details. So those are the 2 you should try to have. If you don't, use whatever brush you have. For example, I usually use this bigger brush. Do you see the difference between those 2? If you only have a bigger brush like this, the simple trick is to just paint bigger, right? I love painting big, but big doesn't always show up well on the camera because I can't get the camera far enough away. So I have to paint a little bit smaller, so that's why I'm using smaller brushes. But if you're using a bigger brush, just paint everything bigger. Just do all the steps bigger than me, okay? You're also going to need chalk or a pencil. So I don't actually have a pencil today, but luckily I do have my chalk because chalk actually shows up better on cardboard. Can you see that? And the cool thing about chalk is that it washes away. We'll talk about that after. It's one of my favorite things. And then to paint this little sloth, you're only going to need 3 colors of paint, just 3. So you need white and black for sure. And then you can pick a 3rd color, and that can be any color at all. I did this guy in teal, as you can see. I love that color. It's probably my favorite color, although I don't really have a favorite color. It changes every day. That's a very hard question for me. But I have pink. I had this lovely tube of pink. I think because it was sunny today, the pink was calling my name. So we're going to make a pink sloth. That's going to look exactly like this, but pink. Yeah, it'll work out well. Okay, so we have paint clothes, surface, paints, water, paper towel, brushes, chalk. Let's get started. Okay, so get your surface in front of you. And I have the slightly larger piece of cardboard that I'm going to use. Oh, and I want to show you guys this too. So this is my demo that I was working on. So when I practice, I practice and I practice and I practice. If you see, those are all the colors I used. So there's no like new colors. It's always teal or light teal or dark teal or really dark teal or really light teal, right? So, or medium teal. So these are the colors we're going to use. It's called a monochromatic painting because we're only using one color and using lights and darks of that same color. Yeah, so we're just making things lighter or darker. Think of it as like on a sliding scale. We have a middle point, that's the main color, and then you can go lighter or you can go darker the other way. So that's what we're going to do. It's called monochromatic. Really fancy art word. Actually very fun to say, monochromatic. Mono means one, chroma means color, and I'm not sure what the attic means, but chromatic, monochromatic, one of my favorites. Okay, so let's get started. Grab your chalk or your pencil, grab your surface, and we're going to start to draw this little guy on our surface before we start painting. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw one line that's going to be the top branch here. So can you see right this line? We're going to draw this line right here, and I'm going to draw right through him. Don't worry, I can erase it. If it bugs you, I'm sorry, but we're going to draw that line, okay? And that's the line that your little sloth is going to be sleeping on or napping on. So we're going to start here, close to the edge, and we're going to go across and then back up like that, okay? Easy peasy. Next line, we're going to start here at the edge, and we're going to make it very, very narrow right there, and see as it gets bigger and way bigger and way bigger. So we're making that trunk. So we're making a little tiny branch that is attached to a bigger trunk. So I'm going to go here and go like this and get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, and then you know what, at this side I'm going to go like that because it would attach to a tree that would go here. Okay, so we have first one, we have the second one, and you know what? We're going to do the other two branches after. I played around with this a few times. I have a few different ways that it works. We'll add those in after once we get this guy drawn. Because we can always change where these are. We kind of want to have lots of room for this guy, right? So the next thing we're going to do is right about here, we're going to draw his head. It's kind of like an oval. And see how I left lots of space? That's going to be for his back and his bum and everything. So we want to draw a circle close to the end of the branch, just like that. Okay, so it looks kind of weird. It looks like something's rolling along the branch, like a marble or something. That's going to be his head. To make sure that we remember that it's his head or her head, we're going to draw kind of like a jelly bean shape right in here, just like so. A jelly bean or like a heart, just like that. Okay, so we have the branch, we have the circle for the head, and we have the jelly bean or heart mask, just like that. And you want to make it pretty big. Don't make it too small. We want to be able to fit his whole face in there. The next thing we're going to do is one long movement to make his back and his bum and the back of his leg like this. So we're going to go all the way from here, around, and down. So watch this. You're going to start here. You're going to go dip down like so. I know it looks funny. Dip down and then scoop right back up to make his bum, and that bum's gonna be resting on that tree, and you're gonna make a line like that. Now the cool thing about chalk is if later I find out that that's a little bit too far, I can always just rub it away and erase it, okay? One of my favorite drawing utensils for painting is chalk because it's easily erasable. You can just wipe it away or wash it out, and you can paint over it easy, okay? So we made his neck, his bum, his leg, and that will be his toe. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create kind of his upper thigh and then part of his leg like that. So you're going to start above the branch, make a little scoop like that, and then go right through the branch and join it like that. So it's kind of like an S shape, like a really narrow S. Can you see? S right there. Okay. Good job, everybody. Drawing is tricky, but I'm sure you're doing amazing. And if you've missed a part or feel like you've missed a part, don't worry. These videos will be posted up on our social media channels. We're going to mainly post it to YouTube, and then we link it to everything. So if you feel a little bit lost, I apologize, but we can get back on track, and you can watch this after so you can practice and practice. Okay? Practicing is important. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this part of his arm right here. So it starts under his chin, right there, and it goes down this way and then back up. So we're gonna do this all in one swoop. Ready? So we're gonna start right at his chin here, and we're going to go down like this, so a curve like that. It's kind of like one big curve. And then it's gonna stay pointy at the bottom, and you're going to bring it back up like that. And it goes right through that tree. Don't worry about the tree. Yep. Okay? So we have his arm, his face, his bum, his back, everything. The next thing we need to do is add a sloth's belly. So this one, if you can see, I went over onto the branch because I want him to look nice and like plump. Yeah. So you're going to take your utensil and you're going to kind of do a scoop just like that. And yep, I went onto the branch a little bit. That's okay. Now, if you're using chalk, what you're going to do is use your fingers to just get rid of those lines of the branch that are going through his leg and his belly and his arms, just like that. Okay? Easy peasy. If you're using pencil, no problem. Just make sure that you don't press too hard with your pencil. And you know what? Even so, sometimes adding extra texture looks really cool in your paintings. Okay, so that's all we're gonna draw. Oh, wait, I forgot branches. We were gonna do these other little parts of the branches, right? Okay, so to make the bottom branch, you're gonna start here, and you're gonna draw a line. And then you're going to do another line that's thicker, closer to the main branch here, and then gets thinner as you go away. And you know what, I'm even gonna extend this one a little bit, just like that. And then I'm gonna do a little twig. So the same, I do a line, make it thicker, and then thin it out as I get towards the end, just like so. Okay, so that's all that we're gonna draw, now that I remember the branches. And we're gonna start painting. So yes, like I mentioned before, we are only using 3 colors. So this one I made in teal. Yep, so it's only teal. This one, we're gonna do a pink sloth. I thought that'd be kind of cute. So for any of the colors we're gonna make, we're only gonna add black or white to them to make it darker or lighter. So I'm gonna start painting the sloth's body here. So all this part in here. So what I'm gonna do is make a slightly lighter version of the pink. So I take some paint, and I forgot to wet my brush a little bit. So I take some paint, some pink, or whatever color you're using, and scoop it in the middle into a new spot. And then I'm gonna take a pretty big scoop of pink, or oh my goodness, of white, and I'm gonna mix it together to make a lighter version of that pink. And you know what, I'm gonna even lighten it up just a little bit. And remember, when you are painting, mixing paint on here, try to mix in one spot. So don't push everything out to the sides, because anything you push out too far will just dry up, and then you won't be able to use it. You want to keep a really thick puddle in the middle here so it doesn't dry up. Actually, I'm going to move this over here. You guys all know that the water's over here if I wash my brush, just so you can see the whole palette, because we're going to be using that today. So make a light pink, or a light version of your color, whatever color that is. And then we're going to start painting in the sloth's body. So I'm just starting here. You can pretty much start wherever you like. But whatever you're painting over, whether it's pencil or chalk, make sure that you go over those lines. That's why they're there. We want to cover them. We don't want to see them. If you see a tiny, tiny little bit like that and you're using chalk, no problem, because we can just erase the chalk after. But you want to make sure you're covering those lines. And I'm using my medium brush for this. You can use whatever brush is more comfortable. I was actually talking to someone over the weekend, and they only really paint with this size brush, maybe a little bit bigger. That's like their favorite brush. They make these giant paintings, and they only use a small brush, and that's okay. Honestly, I would probably use this size brush for a lot of things I was doing, or this shape brush. I'm really partial to the flat, square tip brushes, because I can get the different kind of lines I want to make. I think it's because that's probably what we had a lot of when I was learning how to paint, and I just got used to using them, and I found little tips and tricks on how to get them to do what I want. And again, guess what it all came down to? Practice. Lots and lots of practice. Like many things, you got to practice and practice. If you want to be good at something, You gotta practice. And be okay with making mistakes, because learning is all about making mistakes. Yep. Like how I made his toe a little bit too big here. No big deal. I can make it work, right? So you know what I'm actually gonna do, because that one's really thick, I'm gonna thicken this leg up a little bit. Just like so. Okay? I'm gonna paint the rest of his sloth bum in right there. I'm gonna go into his belly. Like so. Oh, and you can see, did you see that little dark spot of pink? That was probably because I didn't mix my paint enough, but I kind of like it. It's in a nice spot. It created a shadow. Okay, so we've done the body. So we're gonna go on to the head, but you're only going to do the spaces that are around the heart shape. So take your time and go around here, just like so. Because you want to leave that open, because we're going to do a lighter color there. Just like so. All right. So yeah, hopefully you like the sloth choice today. It's actually inspired by a book that my boys love called But First We Nap. It's about a sloth, and it's sleeping, and there's a bunny that wants to play with the sloth, and sloths love to sleep, and the bunny has lots and lots of energy and wants the sloth to play, but the sloth is sleeping, of course, like sloths do, and the bunny uses up all his energy to try to get the sloth to play, and then it turns out that the bunny needs a nap too. So it's one of their favorites. It's actually on this app called Vooks. I'm not sure if anyone's on Vooks. It's a really awesome app. It has lots of animated stories. It's really nice. It's one of our favorites here at home, at my house. Okay, so after you're done painting in your sloth's body, you're gonna wash your brush, dry it on the paper towel, and if you have some of this left over, take a scoop, mix it to a new spot, like this, and then take another little scoop of white, and we're gonna make an even lighter version of that pink. And you can make it as light as you want. I'm gonna go kind of, I guess, 2 small scoops to make it a little, maybe 3, to make it pretty light, just like that. And then what you're gonna do is paint in the face, or the heart, or the mask, I guess we'll call it, the mask for your sloth, just like so. So I'm very curious to see if anyone's actually painting on cardboard today. Yeah, I'd love to see them. I love painting on cardboard. I think I like the contrast, especially when you're painting with like lighter colors, like these kind of like pastel and monochromatic versions of colors. It makes everything kind of pop, right? It glows a little bit more on the cardboard. That's just what I think. I'm not sure if you guys feel the same way, but I love it. It looks really neat. Okay, so we've done the body. We have done the mask. And before we do any of the details, we're actually going to do the tree branch. So this tree branch, believe it or not, our brains sometimes make you think that it should be brown, but it's actually just a really dark teal. So we're gonna make a pretty dark pink, or whatever color you're using. So you can take some of your color, your main color, move it to another spot, take just a little bit of dark or a little bit of black and mix it in. Because black is pretty strong and we can always add more, but it's really hard to cover it up after. And look at this cool pink, when you add black to it, it actually turns kind of like a green. I really like that. I'm gonna take a little bit more, make it even darker. Okay, so with this new dark color that you have, ooh, I like that. Isn't painting magical? I love painting. So we have a darker version of our main color. In this case, mine is pink and it's turned into a purple. And what we're gonna do is start painting this tree trunk. So I like starting at the back here, and I just go around the sloth's bum a little bit. And then I fill in the back part here. Now when we get close to the end of the trunk here, we can kind of leave it rough, just like this. See? So it kind of like looks like it disappears. It kind of adds some interest, like it would continue, but we don't need to worry about that, right, in the painting. So we're just gonna fill that in, just like so. Okay. And then you're gonna go under the belly, so take your time. And you know what, if you accidentally cover a little bit too much, don't worry, just wait for your paint to dry because we still have some of that main sloth color there. And you can kind of touch up the little areas that you might have made you felt that you might have made a mistake in. That's sometimes what I find with art. I'm doing things and I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. And then I go back to fix it. And then I can't actually find where my mistake is because I like the way it looks now. So art is fun that way. It's always surprising you. Also, I just realized I forgot to kind of do opening housekeeping stuff. I ran through materials really quickly. But just in case, especially because our internet dropped this morning, if for some reason our internet drops, I will be right back. You won't be abandoned, I promise. And yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. And then another thing is, actually the dogs are in the main house today. Well, they're behind a door. I don't have a main house. My house is one house. But they're all around. The boys are here. They're playing. I'm not sure if you heard them in a minute. That's actually what reminded me that I didn't let you know that it could be noisy, because that's what being home is like. Sometimes it's noisy. Yeah. And that's okay. I kind of like it. I like when it's noisy. Not always, but sometimes. So you're just gonna keep working on your branches. So I did the back, under the belly, and now I'm going on to these smaller branches here. Just trying to find a good angle. Moving around a lot today. Usually I don't move around so much, but I don't know. Oh, another thing you can do too, if you don't have space to move around, is just do this and move your painting. Maybe I'll do that instead, because my painting can move, although it's good exercise for you to move too. Okay, so I'm just putting in those little branches. And it's okay if your paint is drying quicker and you're getting like kind of funny lines. It's a tree and it's supposed to have those little, bark details in it and stuff. And even same with your sloth's fur. Those little paint marks that you might have in there of your paint drying too quick, those little brushstroke marks, those look really neat too. So don't worry, it all works. And really, if you don't like something, you can always make this again and think of a way to stop that from happening, like maybe adding more water, or if it's a second time, chances are you're doing it faster because you already know what to do, right? There we go, no pressure. Okay, so I have my branches done for my pink sloth today. And actually, I really like the contrast of the purple and the pink together. Now, before you wash your brush, once you're done this, we're actually gonna make a darker version of this color, even darker. So you're gonna take a scoop, mix it in, or put it in a new spot, take a little bit more black. Just remember, start with less and you can always add more, because we don't want it to be black. We want it to be a darker version. So it's not quite black yet. It's like a dark purpley gray. And then what you're gonna do is give your tree some detail. So at the bottom, you're going to do a line at the bottom of the branch here, and you're gonna connect that line here. So just like so. And if you accidentally get it on your sloth, don't worry, we can always put some detail or some pink back on. And then you're gonna go here and follow along the bottom. Okay, oops, I almost took the lighter color. And then you're gonna go back up top and put that there. And then guess what? We'll go with this. Make sure we're still in the camera. We are. And then you're going to go along the edges of your branches. And it's okay if it looks rough like that. It's a tree, right? It is definitely not supposed to be too smooth and too perfect, because bark is not super smooth and super perfect. Okay. And my last little bit. So you're basically just outlining the tree with a really fine line using the tip of your brush to give it some depth. And it's very subtle. It might be hard to see on the camera. What if I bring it closer? Can you see that very, very subtle change? Yeah. Because is the tree the main focus of this painting? Nope, not at all. We actually want to make the sloth the main focus. So this is just some background detail that we're gonna do. Okay, so once you've gone around all the little outside spots of your tree, we're gonna keep with this color. And what you're gonna do is use the very tip of your brush to make some really fine lines, just like this. Okay, so we're gonna add some detail to the bark, just like that. And you can do dashed lines, you can do long curvy lines, it depends what kind of tree you wanna have. I'm actually gonna make this a little bit darker so you guys can see. I'm gonna make it a little bit darker here, okay? You're just gonna follow along. It's very similar to the details that we did in our crocus paintings last week, if you joined us for those. So just adding little tiny bright spots, or dark spots in this case, some shadows, some details, just like that, okay? So I'm gonna bring this closer to the camera one more time so you can see. Oh, do you see them there? Yep, they're wet, so they look extra dark, but they're just these little tiny details to make the tree look a little bit more exciting. After that, you can wash your brush, and we're going to do some details on the sloth. So you're going to pick up your the finer brush that you have. I'm going to use my fine pointed round brush here, and we're going to go back to the sloth color, but what I'm going to do is darken it. So I'm going to take some of this, move it to a new spot. I'm going to take some of my main color, and I'm going to mix it to make a darker version of the main color. So I'm making like a darker pink. Just like that. And you know, I'm even gonna take a little bit more. Oops. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some of these details into the sloth's fur right here. So we're gonna add little dashes to make it look like the sloth is kind of fuzzy. Like you wanna rub your fingers through it like that, okay? So you take your darker pink, and we're gonna start here. We're gonna start on one leg. I found that helped me. And see how the leg goes this way? So the leg kind of drapes down. So we wanna do dashes. You know what, I'm gonna make that darker so you guys can see it, I think on the camera a little bit better. Oh, actually it's not so bad. So you don't have to make yours as dark as mine. But what we're gonna do is fill this up with little dashes, just like this. And they're all going the same direction. They're not in a row, they're staggered, just like this. And they don't go right down to the bottom. If you did go down to the bottom already, don't worry. We're gonna put some little sloth toes there. We can just go over. You know what, I'll do it just in case you did. Yeah, okay? So then, up here, we're gonna start to curve a little bit, and then we're gonna go around the sloth's head. Just like this. And they can be bigger, they can be shorter, but you always wanna think of them going the same direction. So they're kind of flowing together. Okay? Oops, that was a lot of paint. I should have looked before I grabbed that one. Let's see if I can. There we go. It's just textural now. That's okay. So now here, the belly starts to go down and the back starts to go up. So what we're gonna do is take some of these and start to follow that path here. And I'm gonna go to about there, and I'm gonna go along the back. And then, my paint's pretty thick today. And then I'm gonna start to fill these spaces in just like so. And see if I make them kind of follow that edge right here, it makes the sloth look nice and round. Like it's got a nice little round, comfy, cozy belly, just like that. Okay, hopefully the paintings are going along well. I'm excited to see them. I always am. I love seeing the stuff that people create. Whether it's something that I've helped you make or that you've made on your own, I love to see artwork and what you've spent your creative time doing. Okay, so see how I went along the back and I'm working my way down the leg? That's what we're gonna do to kind of keep that flow going with the dashes, just like so. And it's okay if you go right down to the foot, no big deal. Just like so. And I always find adding dashes to things very like meditative. So that means it's like calming. And it helps me forget about other things and if I was worried about anything. I find that's what painting helps me do, which is very helpful in this last month. Just like so. Yep, we all need an outlet and doing art is the one that helps me relax. Especially one of my favorite things is when me and my son Sam were painting together or drawing together at the table. It's one of my favorite things. Okay, so I'm just looking through my sloth, seeing if there's any spots that don't have enough dashes. But that is what we should end up with. Yeah, so I'll bring it up a little bit closer so you guys can see. Although I think you can see, but sometimes it's nice to see things up close. Okay, so from there, what we're gonna do is work on the eyes, or the eye patches here, and then some toes, some little sloth toes, and then we're gonna do the nose and the mouth and the eyes, okay? So, notice how I didn't wash my brush. Keep it just how it is. Move that to a new spot. And instead of taking black, take some of this, if you have any of your tree color left, and mix that in, because we just want it a little bit darker. Oh, that's a good shade. A little bit darker than the rest of what we've used already on the sloth. I'm actually gonna take a little bit more of this and mix it in just like that. Okay, now as usual, my paint is drying out a bit. I think it's because it's drying here. But we're gonna make a darker color like so, just a little bit darker. And then we're gonna make 2 jelly bean shapes. So they're gonna go here. So one's gonna go like this, and one's gonna go like this. So they're 2 kind of oval jelly bean shapes, but see how they're angled? They're not straight across, they're kind of on an angle. So I'll do them really slowly so you can see what I mean. So they overlap between the mask here. They overlap between the mask and the body. So like there, see how a little bit is going on to the body? That's awesome, that's what we want. And even more is going on right over there. So that's great. Kind of sews the sloth together. So you're gonna start right about here. And you're going to do like this. And like this. And it looks funny, I know. And then you're gonna paint it in. But that's the thing about art. Things look funny until they're done. And that's a really good point, actually. I always just tell my students, don't judge your paintings until it's finished. Because sometimes you're making things and they are really like ugly stages. And that's okay, that's a part of art. But we have to remember to push through and get it finished and change it as we go if we really don't like it. Because art lets you do that, right? So just like so. So we have these 2 patches. And you know what, I like that that one's actually a little bit smaller. I'm gonna just leave it like that today. Gives it a little bit more character. Now, after you've made those patches, do not wash your brush because we're gonna just darken this color a tad bit more. So I'm actually gonna move whatever's on my brush to a new spot. If you have some of that leftover color that we used to outline the tree, go ahead and put some of that in, just like that. You know what? Maybe I will add a little bit darker because we want this to be pretty dark today. Yep, and see, you can do art and change your steps as you go along. That's even a little bit too dark. We want it pretty dark, but still to look kind of purpley or pinky or whatever colorish that you have. And then what we're gonna do is draw a teeny little oval nose just here in between. So it's kind of like a squished oval, just like so. Okay, and then a teeny little mouth. Now before I do the mouth, if you don't have a fine brush that you're comfortable with to do the nose or the eyes or the mouth, what can you use instead? Does anyone remember? You don't have to use paint. You can always go back after it dries and use a marker for fine details, okay? So if you don't have a fine enough brush that you feel confident doing it, use a marker when it dries. These are easy peasy steps that you can totally wait to do, right? And then I'm gonna do a little mouth, and that could be done with a marker or with paint, like so. And then eyes, he's gonna be kind of like sleepy, or she's gonna be sleepy. So it's gonna be like this. Ta-da. Okay. Oh, you know what I forgot? We forgot to do toes. So if you have some of your darker one and you want to use that, you can. If you want to go back to the medium color we used for the eye patches, you can. I think I'm going to stick with this one today. I might even make it like a little bit lighter. Yeah, you can pick whatever color you think for the toes. It's always good to go a little darker though. I wouldn't go light because they might not stand out. So pick a color, and what you're going to do is go along the outside of that point and then you can do 1 and 2. And again, if you don't feel confident using a paintbrush, go ahead and do this step with marker after, okay? But I'm using the tiniest tip of my brush, so you outline it like this, and then you go ahead and put in some sloth toes, just like so. Now see how that one's really dark? I'll show you a little trick that we can do to fix that. I'll wash my brush. I'll go into my sloth color. Oops, this is kind of wet. I'll go into my sloth color here because I still have some of the body color. And all I'm going to do is go in and add some of that space, that color back in here. So they look narrower. Just like so. It's a little tiny step. But this is how we can kind of fix something if we feel that we've made it too dark. Okay, kind of cool, eh? Okay, so the last thing we need to do is some leaves on the branches of the tree. So this is where we're at right now. Let's do them side by side. So we've done, oh, I gotta go lower. So we've done the body, we've done the face, we've done the feet, we've done the fur. All we're missing is the leaves on the branches. Oops. So what we're gonna do next is we're going to go back to our main color. So that's the color that has nothing added to it. So mine is pink in this case. You're gonna get some pink. And we're gonna do some leaves. And those are like kind of squishy, pointy ovals. So if you want to draw them, if you're gonna feel more comfortable drawing them, go ahead. They look like that. Or you can do whatever kind of leaves you want. Actually, you don't have to do leaves like mine. So you make a curve up to a point and then curve down to a point just like that. But I'm gonna do some painted ones. So I'm gonna go like this. Curve up, curve down, paint it in. So watch this, curve up, and you can curve down or curve back up, whatever way gets you to where you need to be, and paint it in. And you're using your main color for this. This is just my plain old pink that I didn't add anything to or change anything. It's the color that was the base of all of our colors today. Because we're doing a monochromatic painting, which means we only use one color, but we've changed the tone and the lightness of it. Okay, and then you know what? I'm gonna add some more here. So I'm gonna make this one go this way, like so. And if you wanna do bigger leaves or smaller leaves, you can do that too. It's up to you. Let's paint them in. So this one, because it's kind of close, you can overlap them. You totally can. But I'm going to make a kind of a smaller one here. Maybe it's a baby leaf that has just started growing. Like so. And you know what? I am going to overlap. I love art because you can change your mind at the last minute and be really happy with it. Just like so. Okay, and then you know what? I think I have enough leaves there. Actually, maybe I'll add one more here. That kind of sticks out into that space. And then I'm gonna add some down here. So I'm gonna make one that goes like this. One that goes here. And I got a lot of paint on that one. See if I can save some of it and move it to a new spot. This one here. And then this one here. And then maybe one more here. Okay. So, first step is just adding in your leaves. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do one more little one here. Just a little baby one. Like that. Okay. So, when you're done that, wash your brush. And if you have some of your sloth color left, the one that you used for the body, so that would be this one for me. We're gonna do the last step. We're gonna add a highlight to the leaf. Okay. So take some of that lighter color. Make sure your brush is dry and clean. It doesn't need to be too clean because we're pretty much using the same color. You're gonna take a little bit of this. And then on the same side of every leaf, you're gonna put a highlight. Because that's where the sun is coming from, so that's where the light would bounce off, always from the same spot. So I'm going to start the one closest to my sloth, and I'm going to go like this. Loop, 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 loop. Oh, and see this one would actually be in front, like so. And then bloop, bloop. And you know what? If you make a mistake and you put the highlight on the wrong side, not the end of the world. Yeah, they're just little leaves. Remember, this is not the main part of the painting. This is the extra to the sloth. The sloth is the main part of your painting today. And that's where you want to have all of the attention. Okay, so I'm going to put another little highlight on the side of the leaves. And oh, that one's really light. You know why it's light? Because it's wet. So I'm going to dab it off really carefully. And I'm going to take a little bit more paint and put it right back on. Just like that. And this one's light too. Okay. And that is the sloth painting. Yeah, it's kind of a short and sweet one today. About 40 minutes this guy went. But it's really fun. And these are really fun to practice, especially with different colors. I like practicing, especially monochromatic things like this, with different colors and seeing which one I like the best. And I actually like having a little collection of all the different colors and shades and tones I can make. So say I want to do like a purple sloth next time, or like a green sloth next time, or a gray sloth, right? Anything you want to make, you can turn it out. You can work it out with these same steps that I showed you. So like I said, you can make that because we're going to be posting the video on our social media channel through YouTube. And also, I forgot to mention, see how there's a little bit of chalk right here? If you use chalk, wait for this to dry, and then you can just rub it away. Yeah, it'll come right off. So thanks for joining us. Hopefully you had a great painting afternoon with me. Of course, if you have any comments or questions, send me an email at kdupuy@notlpl.org, or you can send us a message on Facebook or Instagram. Also, I'd love suggestions, anything you'd like to hear. And we, of course, would love to see pictures of your creations. So make sure if you post them on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere, tag us at NOTLLibrary so that we can see them and share them on our pages. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. And I don't have a sneak peek. I have a kind of a sneak peek of next week's if you'd like to see. I'm thinking about doing something like this. So I've been working on some llamas. So I'd love to hear what you think about that. Yeah, that one looks like a sheep. I think it's because the neck is too short. I need to make it a longer neck for a llama or an alpaca, maybe an alpaca. But yeah, a little sneak peek for next week. Okay, have a great afternoon, everybody. And we'll see you next Monday for the NOTLLibrary Live Create with Kasia. Thanks again. See you later. Bye.